Hi, I'm Lynn Sullivan. I'm here with my husband, Frank Sullivan, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about our Par Course Boot Camp. It's sponsored by our Sports and Rec Department here at LOP. We do it every Friday at 10 a.m. It's free, so come on down and play with us. To tell you a little bit about Frank, he's been a teacher and coach for the last 37 years. He has his master's degree in physical education and recreation, and he currently runs the fitness centers both at Cal State East Bay and Chabot College in Hayward. So Frank, tell us a little bit about what's the whole thing about functional fitness?
Functional fitness is what we talk about when we want to be healthy in a way that keeps us moving functionally. So how do we function in our daily living? So there's certain basic movements that we want to get after, and movement's the key here. Just like with your aerobics classes and swimming and hiking, movement is good. The human body defends its fat fiercely, and to be in shape, we got to keep moving. We're too sedentary in this life. It's well documented all kinds of different places. But one of the things that we keep kind of putting aside is people don't really like to do the workout part of it, where the strength training comes in. And that we have found is where we really need to kind of put some of our extra energy into, make it like a date that you can't break. You got an office visit you can't miss with a doctor. You got to meet with your boss. You have to do the strength training. So what kind of strength training do you need to do? Because a lot of people are really worried, do we have to do bodybuilding? Well, no, it's not bodybuilding. In fact, you don't even really need any weights to really hit good strength training. That's what this little course that we have set up here that will show you how you can use this and your body weight to get after that strength training that you really need. So the functional training is basically broke down to 5 basic human movements. We need to push and we need to press things away from us. We need to pull or row things toward us. We need to be able to step, get the knee up and do steps. Lunges fit in that category. Squatting, a real critical exercise. And then of course the midline stabilization. You know, the all-American abs that people want really is not just by themselves or isolated. It's part of a package, and we need to tie that whole package together. So those 5 things: pushing and pressing, pulling, rowing, lunges and steps, squats, and midline stabilization. So that is how we define functional training, being able to move.
Okay, well, how often should people do this, and how long would it take each time?
You don't have to do the exercise like Dr. Sullivan would do it. You don't have to do the exercise like I would do it. You're going to do them for you. And if you do it twice a week, then you'll get the benefits, and you'll see the improvements and the changes, and you're just going to feel so much better because you're going to feel strong. You'll feel strong. Your heart will get exercised, all the muscles, the joints. It's twice a week, and that gives you plenty of time to get rest in between. Because you don't want to do this on Monday, Tuesday. You want to do this on Monday, then take Tuesday, Wednesday off, and maybe Thursday. That's a better way to do it. So we need rest, especially as we get older. We need more rest. You can't back up your activities like this.
Yeah, I just want to add, when you do weight train, you actually tear down muscle fibers, you actually cause microfractures in the bone, and if you don't allow that healing time, your body never rebuilds, so you're constantly breaking it down. So that's why it's so important that you allow that rest time in between your workouts. And Frank, once someone has kind of gotten everything down, about how long would it take to go through a workout?
Well, you can work out and do this workout with your warm-up, the exercise, and a cool down, and you can be done in 25 minutes or less.
That's great, yeah.
So you don't need to be out here that long. That's another, you know, more's not better, better's better. You want to work out hard when you're working out here, hard for you. You want to get really intense at it. And again, in more science, you know, the thing that we're after here is human growth hormone and testosterone, and we want to make sure that we use that because the chemical changes that the brain is creating inside the body to create all these good things, it's done in about 45 minutes. And after that, you get minimal benefit anyway. So, you know, if you want to have a hard, long workout, it still shouldn't take any more than 40 minutes. Just be in and out.
Okay, well, let's get warmed up and let's get going.
Okay.
Okay, so here I am. Tell me what to do.
All right, well, we want to think like an athlete. You know, before the big game, they warm up, you know, so we need to get our body ready for the warm up. And when we talk about getting our body warmed up, what we're talking about is that internal chemistry, starting with the heart. So we want to get the heart rate up. We want the engine fired up, and we want it moving. And you know, your breath, you should be a little bit out of breath. You're not talking about running a marathon or running straight uphill. And we want the joints and the ligaments to be loosened up that you're about to use. So the ankles, the knees, the hips, the shoulders, you know, we want to get all that going. So there, here at the Temperform Fitness Center, is this what this says? Group A is about warm-ups. It's also about warm down, by the way. So in this package here, when you come, there's some warming up and some warming down. And so I know that, you know, the print's small here, but this right here in this middle, it says begin your exercise with a warm-up period of at least 5 minutes. This will increase respiration, circulation, and body temperature, like we talked about, while stretching muscles, tendons, and connective tissues. That's the key. And so what you want to do is exercises, what we call dynamic, as opposed to static. The difference. Static would be like sitting and doing a toe reach. If that's for the end of the day, that's your warm down. So the way I want to warm up my hamstrings, I want to warm my hamstrings by standing up and moving around a little bit. So we could demonstrate some of the exercises that I do to get myself warmed up. And again, this is just what I like to do, and other people have some other ones, but anything that fits in this category where it's dynamic and you're up and you're moving and you're getting your heart rate up will work.
And I just want to add, stretching cold muscles will actually tear them, so it's not recommended that you do the static stretches to start with. Static stretches are fine at the end of the cool down. Okay, let's go.
All right, so the first thing we're going to do is the squats. And so we want to get all these big 200 more mounts of muscles that we have down below warmed up. Good squat action. The knees are not to come forward, which is the biggest mistake. So most people don't begin the squat even correct because they bend the knees like this. It's the hips that have to shoot back. So kind of, if you're looking from the side there, Doc, I would want to sit. I get this sitting action so the knees don't come forward. All right. Now, all I got to do is just down, and I don't even have to go that far down. And that's an air squat. Do 10, 15 of these so I feel comfortable, like my heart rate's starting to come up, and then I can move into my other exercises.
Okay.
Now, some people have a hard time getting down with a squat. And that's the thing we want to make sure everybody understands here. When you come and you look at these pictures as we go around, you don't have to do that movement exactly that way. We can assist if you need help. We can also enhance it if you say, I've got that and I want to make this workout harder, because we don't want to spend here long. So we don't want to be spending time at these stations doing 50 exercises at one station. We want to keep it down, 8, 10, maybe 12 that you can do in like 30 seconds time. That gets you tired, and then you move to the next one, because we want to get after this and get going. That's the way it's going to be. So what happens if you can't squat correctly? Especially this dreaded right here, coming up on the toes. Well, there's a couple ways we do it. Like, you could use a bench, anything that you can kind of get up to, put your feet kind of under, and notice my knees now, they're stuck here. There's no way I can get on my toes. And I can grab hold to help myself, and now I can sit down. And you'll notice if you were measuring me, I could even get a little lower than you just saw me doing my regular squat, because I'm hanging on here. And
you're ready for your rice patty.
I'm ready for my rice patty. And then this is a great way right here to exercise using what we have here and train to do a squat correctly. I remember that was one of the keys we talked about. Doing one good one far better than doing 10 that are poor. They don't have good technique. So I get myself warmed up with the squat, and that's the first thing I do.
Okay, what else can I do for warm up?
The next thing we want to do is get our, to get our step action, because we really want to lift and get the knee up above the hip. So as I lift up, this is the action that I'm looking for. So not just a small step.
So Frank, show us how to do the lunges.
All right, so the idea on the lunge is it's a stepping action. And so what we're really working on here, obviously, is getting our knee up, and in a little more exaggerated form than you would normally walk, but like going uphill or big stairs. So if we can get the knee to be at least level with the hip or even higher, that's obviously good. And then what we want to do is it's that flexibility that we're going to be after. So I want to lift when I do a lunge, so my leg comes up, and I'm going to reach out, and I'm going to hit my mid-foot strike, so my heel and the mid-foot of my foot, so I can wiggle my toes right, and I notice my knee's slightly behind my heel. And then what we do on the lunges is we have to go straight down. So this is where that midline stabilization that we talk about. So I'm in this position here. Notice my shoulders and my hips are standing back here. No pressure on my knee. Now, a lot of people have a real hard time with a lunge. Like my cartilage is pretty much useless on this side of the right leg. So lunges are hard for me. But by working at it, I've been able to build up to where it's not that the knee gets any better and you don't have some of that kind of pain from doing the lunges, but you can function, which is what we're after, is function. So what do you do if reaching up and going out is painful on your knee? Well, we get close to where you have a prop, and you can do this almost anywhere, but there's all kinds of props here. At your house, you can use a chair, you can use a table, you can use anything you can get hold of. So I have people take, and if you are uncomfortable, having a handy dandy towel close by, just get down right on the ground. Put your knee on this here, because little rocks are there, and get in the perfect position. Make sure the knee's over the ankle. Make sure the knee, hip, and shoulders right here. And I got this. I dig my toe in the background, and I'm going to push right through this heel, and I'm coming up. and I go back down. And I don't have to hit the ground, but I can go up and down, up and down. And there's a dynamic warm-up for those knees that we can kind of get those going and start to get that feeling of, you know, let some of the body go to work, the endorphins and the adrenaline working to help ease some of that stiffness and pain that we start to feel. And we can get ourselves ready now, you know, for the rest of the workout. Okay? So that was what we call a forward lunge I just showed you. A backward lunge would be basically come from the same position, but instead of reaching forward, we reach back and then we'll sit down again, knee critical right here. And you want to combine them, get kind of fun and cute with the thing. We can do what I call a seesaw lunge. So we step forward and we drop down and then we push backwards and then we drop down. So it's seesaw, kind of like going back and forth. And that'll help get you warmed up. In fact, you can hear me huffing this a little bit right there, just even doing that.
Okay, so some shoulder exercises.
Right, so now we've taken care of the lower body. You know, we got the ankles and knees, hips are all going good. Always having a towel for a workout is great because you can mop the, you know, perspiration if there's the outdoor equipment's a little bit wet. And it's a great useful tool. You do not need any special fancy equipment. You can buy things that are fairly inexpensive though. You know, the bands that people use for strengthening, but just take a good towel like such and get the thing rolled up. And then we have a tool that's going to help us warm up our shoulders, okay? Elbows and shoulders, to get the upper body ready to do some of the lifting that we're going to be getting after. Because remember, in the warm-ups, what we're trying to do, get the internal chemistry going and getting our joints ready, our ligaments, right? It's the muscles are fine. Muscles can do all the stuff we want them to do and more. Nobody uses all their muscle potential. Even the strongest guy, 30% maybe. I mean, you know, a great bodybuilder, somebody you think of a great Olympic athlete, they're not close to using all what the muscles can do. It's the joints and the ligaments that have to, that are being protected by our brain. All right, so taking the towel, just rolling it up like such, get it out here at a couple of width, and as you can see, just holding the arms straight, right? Not locked. I don't lock the elbows in, but just straight and extended. Okay, I'm going to take this, I'm going to bring it up over my head, and at this point right here, if I can't go back any further, I don't go back any further, but the goal is to get it back and over the top, okay? Over the top. If you go further out on the towel, you'll find that it's easier. As you move yourself in, it's a little stiffer. So you'll note that this one I'll have to go a little slower and pull on, and I'm feeling a great stretch all the way across the top of the chest, and I'm opening up that shoulder girdle. The other exercise, I call that the dislocate, because it looks like you dislocate your shoulder. And then the next one is one that a lot of people could just do with their hands, but again, I like a towel because I kind of move it up and down. So you'll note that I've grabbed my, and if I get this towel wide enough, so see how my thumbs are set here, thumb down here, thumb up on this one, and I just yo-yo this thing up and down, and then of course I'm going to switch sides as I do that to make sure I get both directions. So with those exercises right there, air squats, the air lunges, the dislocate, and the yo-yo, I've got my joints and ligaments ready to go, and now I'm ready to kind of add a little bit more movement into it to get my heart rate really going before I get going on this.
Okay.
We can take and just do forward kicks, you know, like this. It's a great hamstring exercise stretch, same as the one same benefits that you get for them, but you don't get the possible bad tearing. Now remember we talked about tearing before. There's little micro tears that we get from exercise, which is good, but then there's those rips or tears that you get when you overextend the muscle. So we don't want that. So we want to move more. So we're going to do things on our feet where we're moving our legs, you know, so we can in and out. If you've got something you can hold, you can swing for your kind of what we call the abductors and adductors. As you swing your legs back and forth across. And we want, again, we can walk in place, just trying to lift your knee up to your chest. Bring it across, we can lift it to the side. Notice that we rotate. And again, I don't look to the side as I lift my knee. I try to keep my shoulders this direction. So I kind of actually open that up, right? So we've got forward knee lifts, you know, people call butt kicks. I can get a little closer to mine with my left foot than I can my right foot, but it doesn't matter. And then if you like, you can just walk with those, or you can add kind of a bounce. So a bounce meaning, you know, I'm bouncing, getting a good sight. I can add these to the open side, kicks, and we're ready and we're starting to move. If you like, you can even jog forward, back and forth and do those same type of exercises. So now the heart rate's coming up and you're still getting all those ligaments and joints loosened up and ready to go.
Okay, well I guess we're ready to go work out now.
We're ready to go hit it.
Okay.
All right.